On a freezing evening at Union Station in Chicago, 11-year-old Mara Bennett sat alone on a wooden bench beneath the giant departure board, carefully guarding a battered red suitcase, while her 7-year-old brother Noah slept against her shoulder and her 4-year-old sister Lily curled beneath an oversized coat beside her. Every few minutes Mara checked the station clock, then the paper in her pocket, because it contained the last address her late mother's sister had ever written down, and she was terrified that if they missed the final train, the 3 children would have nowhere to go. A sharply dressed businessman named Adrian Mercer noticed them while rushing toward a private car waiting outside. But what stopped him was not their appearance. It was the way Mara kept whispering to her sleeping siblings, "Don't be scared, I'm still here," with the exhausted determination of someone far too young to have become responsible for an entire family. Adrian was the founder of a successful technology company, a man accustomed to discussing multi-million-dollar contracts while surrounded by assistants, security guards, and people eager to impress him. Yet the sight of that little girl made him forget the conference call waiting on his phone, because she was holding a torn envelope with an address that had been crossed out and replaced 3 times. He approached slowly and asked, "Are you waiting for someone?" And Mara immediately pulled Noah closer, studying him suspiciously before answering, "We're waiting for a train, sir, but I don't know if the person we're going to still lives there." Then admitting that their mother had died unexpectedly after a long illness, their father had disappeared years earlier, and the temporary guardian assigned to them had left them at the station with the promise that an aunt would collect them. Adrian called the number written on the envelope, but it had been disconnected, and when he contacted the station office, he discovered that no authorized adult was listed to receive the children, meaning Mara and her siblings were dangerously close to becoming separated by the very system designed to protect them. Instead of simply handing them money and walking away, Adrian sat beside Mara and said, "You don't have to trust me tonight, but you do have to let me find someone who can keep you together." While Mara quietly replied, "People always say that before they leave," a sentence that stayed with him long after he realized he had heard the same promise broken by adults throughout his own childhood. Adrian contacted a child protection attorney, a family services organization, and the hospital where Mara's mother had received treatment, eventually uncovering a forgotten emergency file that revealed their mother had spent months trying to establish a safe guardianship plan before her condition deteriorated. Inside that file was a letter naming an elderly former teacher, Mrs. Evelyn Hart, as the children's preferred temporary guardian, but she had recently undergone surgery and had never been informed of their mother's death. So Adrian arranged for legal representatives to locate her while he remained at the station with the children until the authorities could complete the necessary checks. That night, instead of returning to his luxury hotel, Adrian bought 3 warm meals, winter coats, notebooks, and a small stuffed rabbit that Lily refused to release after receiving it, while Mara kept staring at him as though she were trying to discover the hidden price behind every kindness. Finally, she asked, "Why are you helping us?" And Adrian answered honestly, "Because somebody should have helped you before you had to become the adult in this family," causing Mara to lower her eyes and quietly confess that she had stopped believing good things happened to children like them. The following weeks became a maze of interviews, court appointments, paperwork, and difficult questions, but Adrian refused to disappear once the headlines faded, and when Mrs. Hart was finally approved as their guardian, he helped renovate her small house so the children could have separate beds, a safe kitchen, proper heating, and a quiet place where they could begin rebuilding their lives. Adrian never told anyone that he had quietly created an education fund for the 3 siblings, because he had learned that charity could become humiliating when it was performed for an audience, and he wanted Mara to understand that accepting help did not mean surrendering her dignity or her future. Years passed, and Mara grew into a determined young woman who excelled at school while carrying an unusual obsession with emergency shelters and child welfare, because she could never forget how easily 3 children had nearly disappeared between paperwork, closed doors, and adults assuming somebody else would take responsibility. Adrian watched from a respectful distance as she earned scholarships, volunteered at family shelters, and eventually announced that she wanted to become a social worker, telling him during a graduation ceremony, "You didn't rescue me so I could spend my life remembering you. You rescued me so I could become the person who notices someone else sitting alone." Nearly 14 years after the night at Union Station, Adrian's carefully controlled world collapsed when his company faced a devastating financial scandal caused by a trusted executive who had secretly manipulated company accounts, leaving Adrian facing lawsuits, public criticism, and the possibility of losing everything he had built. While reporters surrounded his office and former friends stopped answering his calls, Adrian received a message from Mara, now 25 and working for a national child protection organization, saying only, "You taught me that people shouldn't walk away when someone needs them, so I'm not walking away from you." And within days, she helped connect him with investigators and legal advocates who eventually proved that he had been deliberately deceived. Adrian survived the crisis, but the experience changed his understanding of success, and together with Mara, he established the Harbor Lantern Initiative, a nonprofit designed to help children who suddenly become responsible for younger siblings by providing emergency housing, legal assistance, education, counseling, and long-term family support. At the organization's first community center, Mara placed the same battered red suitcase from the train station inside a glass display case, not as a symbol of poverty or shame, but as a reminder of the night she learned that one person's decision to stop and listen could alter the direction of an entire life, while Adrian stood beside her and said, "I thought I was saving 3 children that night, but you ended up teaching me what a life worth building actually looks like." Today, whenever Mara speaks to volunteers, she tells them that compassion does not always arrive with a dramatic rescue or a wealthy stranger, because sometimes it begins with sitting beside someone who is frightened, believing their story, and refusing to let them become invisible. She remembers the station clock, the cold platform, her brother asleep against her shoulder, and the businessman who could have kept walking but chose instead to ask one simple question, proving that the most valuable thing a person can give another human being is sometimes not money at all, but the certainty that someone sees them and cares what happens next. Please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. We create entertaining and inspiring stories for our viewers, and your support helps us continue making great content for you.